what's up? Welcome to another edition of the Mandatory. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Of course, this is the end of year award show. If you like the content, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. You can also follow us on our social media channels, and you can see in the description below the ways that you can connect with us as well on the screen if you're watching this on YouTube. We're also on the audio side, so wherever you find your shows, podcasts, we're there too. So give us a 5-star, leave a rate and review. And shout out to Al the Pal because Al the Pal already in the chat. Remember, this is an interactive show. So as we go through these awards, make sure to drop your comments and we'll be reading them out. And Al the Pal was just like, y'all late. It's 10:21 where Al the Pal's at. Central time, I think in Texas, if I'm not mistaken, Al the Pal, because he was giving me a hard time about not going to the Texans Raiders game, which, by the way, that turned out okay for Raider fans because they were competitive and they still lost. So I loved it. Bryan, it's the end of the year, and this is something that we do often ever since we started this show. How are you feeling about the end of year award show?
I'm feeling pretty tremendous because it looks like I'm going to have a fantasy football title for the first time in a while. In dominant fashion, the critical chase theory looks like we're going to take it home this year because Matthew Stafford didn't do enough to really give me any stress.
Well, congrats, man.
Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, Trevor Lawrence.
Hey, I want to say I kind of had a part to do with this a little bit.
True. Although I did mention to you, I was like, yo, I'm kind of worried about Brock Bowers about them shutting him down.
Well, I don't want to take credit, but I just want to say that I did say, yeah, I do think Trevor Lawrence is a good idea. That's all I did. I didn't do anything else.
This was important. It also got me to a semifinal in my other league, which I lost. But
Trevor Lawrence has been balling, dude.
He finally looks. I don't want to like. This isn't a football show, but but this is the most secure I've felt about Trevor Lawrence as an NFL quarterback to this point because he's never been consistent enough, reliable enough, and now he looks really confident. He's making pretty much all of the throws, and Brian Thomas Jr. is not even like a huge factor, which to me is like, oh, this is interesting that Trevor Lawrence can piece this together with Brent Strange and Jacoby Myers, obviously.
Happy for Jacoby. Yeah.
Yeah, Jacksonville looks good. In an NFL where I'm not even sure who the good teams are because I feel like everyone's like I think Seattle's fraudulent. I think some of the other teams that are going to win their division, I'm like, I don't know. Jacksonville's actually sneaky. Like they have something there.
Okay, before we move on from the football stuff, I'll say this. I don't think Seattle's fraudulent. What I will say,
I think their defense is legit, but I don't trust their offense at all.
I kind of believe in Kubiak, and I like this offense for Seattle. I will say this though, the Rams tonight against the Falcons.
Yeah.
Like what? And they lost last week too. Like what? This is not a football show, but we're gonna move on. But we just want to say, if you want us to do a football podcast, we got you. Okay,
maybe this year. We do the membership thing, you know what I mean? And then we could talk about like more than boxing because boxing might go under this year based on some of the things we're going to talk about. Stay tuned for that.
And by the way, if you're watching this, even if you're watching this later, please drop your comments and let us know, about the award show if you got different picks because we're going to get into that. But before we do, Bryan, a little bit of heavy news, obviously, and I think we just have to start off with this. Our condolences go to Anthony Joshua and the families that obviously were a part of this tragic incident. 2 of Anthony Joshua's dear friends were passed away tragically in this car accident in Nigeria. And I don't want to butcher their names, but Sina and Kevin, condolences to their family. This is a terrible accident that's happened near the end of the year. And, there was, I have to say, I'm going to say this, there was a bunch of footage that came out, and Bryan, personally, like I was disgusted at people that would take a video like that of Anthony Joshua. And I mean, I'm not surprised, but I felt so bad for him in that moment, and people were just recording it. There was lots of yelling. It was just, I thought it was a little bit classless. I would never record a accident like that, regardless of who it was. So that was just my thing, but my heart goes out to those who are obviously affected in this accident, and sad times, obviously, for Anthony Joshua. I couldn't imagine what he's going through right now.
Yeah, the fact that he survived is crazy. Sinagami and Latif Ayodele appear to be the gentlemen who passed away. Both of them were like people in boxing knew them. Anthony Joshua, obviously, but it extended beyond that. And these are people that you saw him in a lot of pictures with. I mean, listen, if you're tight enough with somebody to travel with them to your homeland, because Anthony Joshua, though he's from the UK, his roots are from Nigeria, so he also reps Nigeria very hard, even though he lives in the UK, or has lived in the UK for the duration of his life. Um, one of the thing that's weird to me, and this is something about the social media era that just is an adjustment, that you can see somebody's posts hours before they pass. And he was playing, I think it was ping pong with one of them. I'm not sure if it was Cena or Latif. He was playing ping pong with one of them like hours before this crash ended up happening, which is on Anthony Joshua's story, which may still be up there as the time this is going on. So I kind of woke up to this news. And it's just stunning. Like I can't even imagine. And Anthony Joshua is somebody who has like a lot of perspective. Um which is to say, like, life is short, do your best, like those kinds of things, like very simple messages. But he's delivered some of these, and I just wonder like what he's sort of experiencing right now, because he had a very high. We could say what we want about the fight with Jake Paul, but he had a very high profile fight, high profile knockout, made a lot of money, and now goes back to the homeland, and then this happens. And injuries aside, because like we could put the boxing career like to the side for the time being, because we don't know what capacity we'll see him again. But I'm sure we'll hear from him when he's ready. And yeah, I didn't love either that like people were just kind of recording, and some people were saying a lot. There's a lot of hearsay, but some people were like, hey, they couldn't get medical attention right away because of where the accident was or whatever. I'm not going to get into that because I don't know enough about like what's going on, from like a medical perspective in Nigeria. But um, yeah, I just hope the best for everybody involved, because that was not good to wake up to.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know, my heart's heavy, and it was just really sad to see. I that's kind of a that's kind of a normal thing, is like when you go and you travel in different locations. If you're in different countries,
Mhm.
they always tell you, like, when I went to Fiji, my parents were like, "Yeah, you're not getting a car. You're not driving around, because like driving there is different than like driving in North America."
Oh, I don't drive. When I go somewhere on vacation, I don't want to drive. I don't want to get a car.
Yeah.
Like my fiance would tell me, like, "Yo, we should get a car. It'll save money." And I'm like, "No, I don't want to drive anywhere. I'm on vacation."
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it's just different, right? Like the roads and the rules are different, and I remember like when I went to Fiji, it's a third world country, right? It's an island, and like they drive on the other side of the road, and like your steering wheel's on the other
an
side of the
adjustment,
road.
yeah.
And my fam was like, "Yeah, nah, you're not driving there because it's going to be crazy." And
Mhm.
accidents like that happen, but obviously, a heavy way to start the show, but obviously we wanted to pay our condolences, and our hearts go out to Anthony Joshua, and hopefully he has a speedy recovery. And yeah, it's sad times, but like you mentioned, it's been quite the year, and he did end off the boxing year with something I think he could be proud of, because I think he made some bread. And there was lots of talks about him next year having a big fight with Tyson Fury. Now we don't know what's going to happen with that, especially after a tragic accident like this. But Brian, what do you think that means for AJ, really quickly, for next year? Like, we don't, I don't even know
No
if he's gonna be
idea.
back, dude.
Because reportedly the plan was to get him back in the ring in February. And that can't happen now. Absolutely
Yeah.
cannot. Like from a physical standpoint, he's injured, and from a mental standpoint, there's no way. I don't want to say there's no way, but like, how could you just get yourself up to look? People do historical things. We've heard countless sports stories about, like, Michael Jordan winning titles after his father's passing and how that cut him deep. And boxers who've like had passings in their families and things like that, who have gone on to win world titles. So we'll see. But this is gut wrenching. It's also high profile, unfortunately. as a lot of people are discovering who Anthony Joshua is, because Anthony Joshua has been huge in the UK, and now in the States, he's reached a new level because of this event. Even though people were like, you and I obviously know who he is, but I'm talking
Yeah.
about like non-boxing fans. Like a big running thing was like, oh, American women are discovering Anthony Joshua now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that's going to be secondary, tertiary to like just taking care of the family friends now that have to be accounted for. Losing two people during the holidays of all times, like I can't. There's just like a whole bunch. Now you have to set up funerals. You have to make all these different calls. There's just going to be money going all over the place now. Like I don't even where to begin. You know what I mean? So I think the boxing career is like we'll get to that whenever AJ's ready.
Well, one last thing before we move on from this. I'll say one thing. I think Anthony Joshua really helped. Like he's a nice guy. We've both met him, Brian. And he's an
Yeah,
extremely nice guy.
yeah.
And if it was me in his position, I had all those cameras and people yelling in my face, I probably would have been on TMZ for something real bad because I would have gone off because the way that people were extremely disrespectful to him in that moment, like I was shocked at people's behavior in those videos. And he kept calm the whole time. He was obviously in pain, but like people were in his face. Like there were so many clips that came out, and it's a shame that those clips came out. But those were just my thoughts really quickly. Makeshift.
And he probably had a concussion. You know what I mean? Like as
Yeah,
this going on, we've both been in car accidents before.
yeah.
Not to
I think
that level, but
I think we
uh,
both had concussions as well. I know I've had a concussion. Have
I
you had
might
one?
have.
Yeah,
I didn't get diagnosed with one, but I might have. My face was definitely in the airbag. Nobody.
yeah,
It wasn't anything like what Anthony Joshua unfortunately experienced.
of course.
Um, Makeshift.
Luckily, yeah. Go makeshift. 2384 says, could AJ be retiring? Well, could AJ retiring be realistic after this tragic incident? I think so.
Wouldn't blame him. You know, or at least like just a lengthy pause. As much as we would want to finally see him versus Tyson Fury, like who cares right now?
Yeah.
Um, and we'll get to awards. Like we don't want to like just if if responsibly, if you're doing a boxing show like today, you have to speak about this. Just like you have to speak about the card that we saw on Saturday. We didn't do a post fight live for it, so you didn't miss it. If you're tuning in, you're like, hey, you guys didn't do the Inoue fight. No, we did not. But there's a couple things to talk about there before we get into our award show for this year. But yeah, again, all the best to Anthony Joshua and his family and the families of those who
Yeah.
passed away too. Grief is just grief and death is just like it's something that's we're becoming numb to, and I don't think we should. You know what I mean? Especially in incidents like this where shit just is in the blink of an eye and it's over.
Yeah, and it's heartbreaking. And obviously, like Brian says, we had to cover it on the show, and it sucks to have to talk about this, but obviously, like our hearts are with those who are dealing with this tragic incident, and of course, we had TJ just put in a little
Yeah,
comment as
just said he
well.
hopes AJ is
It's
okay.
okay. Let's go over quickly now to Inoue, because I know that's a crazy switch, but I don't even think there's a way to switch from something that tragic
Yeah,
to and I don't even want to say anything like witty because it's so sad what happened,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
it wouldn't be the right thing to do. But moving on to Inoue, he did it again, Brian. And
And Junto Nakatani kind of didn't do it again. Like
yeah. So what were your thoughts on Inoue's performance this past weekend?
in a way was fine. Like the only thing I thought was I thought he could stop Picasso. For people who don't know, and as a matter of fact, like we should pull up the card here
Yes,
really
please pull it up.
briefly.
Pull it up.
As we're talking about this, but it did feel like okay, not feel like it absolutely was because this has been already reported before this event took place. It's been reported, hey, they're targeting a mega fight. Hopefully, it's in the Tokyo Dome, like we all envision. We'll see if the Saudis want to put it in Saudi Arabia, but a mega fight in May or so for Naoya Inoue to take on Junto Nakatani in what should be a massive, massive, massive fight. Definitely for the Japanese audience, but for those of us who are boxing diehards, boxing sickos, we're absolutely going to be tuned into this. Now, Naoya Inoue looked like Naoya Inoue where he won basically every round. I would say maybe all but one or two, maybe. But regardless, that's nitpicky. He dominated. It was one sided. All the things. Junto Nakatani, um, underwhelmed. Didn't dominate. Um, I saw some people like going as far as saying they thought Sebastian Hernandez Reyes, who was the competitor in this, who was undefeated coming into this, who's not that well known even amongst some boxing diehard fans. Coming into this fight was like, okay, this is a showcase spot for Nakatani to show what he could do against somebody he should beat, and it was a close fight. There's a 118, 110 here. That's not reflective of like what we saw.
Yeah. Were you more so 115, 113?
Yeah, I thought Nakatani did enough, but if you told me, "Hey, this was a draw," or Nakatani should have lost, like I'll hear you out. Like I saw some people saying he lost, which I didn't get there, but
Yeah.
listen, I'll rewatch it, and it looked like he was bothered. You know what I mean? It looked like he was bothered by the style, the volume at times. Like it's just, I don't know, man. That was. I had in my head like, oh, Nakatani is going to be a pound for pound guy because I don't have him in the top 10 yet. I don't think, but he's close. But uh, Inoue is definitely the favorite for me going into this fight. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
That hasn't changed.
I mean, listen, I think Nakatani had kind of a letdown performance, but he still got the win. I thought it was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be.
Hmm.
But Naoya, in a way, like I want to talk about him
Sure.
because he continues to impress. He continues to have great fights, and he's dominant. And I just think if we're gonna get him and Nakatani, which we're supposed to get, there's no way that I'm not taking Inoue in this fight, Brian. There's nothing much else to say except for Inoue continues to prove every year how great he is. And he's one of the greatest of this generation. We're gonna get to some boxing awards in just a moment. But he continues to prove this year after year after year, and it's the consistency and how he's doing it, Brian. And against Picasso, he controlled this fight.
Yeah.
He controlled this entire fight. And listen, the fight went the distance. And were you surprised at that?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I felt like he could have finished him toward the end, but he kind of just boxed his way to a decision, which I thought was fine. He probably watched back the Ramon Cardenas tape and was like, you know what,
Yeah.
I don't really need to do that again. You know, like that fight, it looked like he wanted to have a little fun. It almost paid for it. But yeah, I thought Picasso to me overachieved a little bit because I didn't think he'd make it the full 12 rounds. I don't think I'm gonna look at him and be like, oh, he's gonna clean out everybody else at 122 now, other than Inoue and perhaps Nakatani. I'm not going that far with him, but I thought Inoue like it was another like four. We'll talk about him, I'm sure, shortly. Four title defenses in a year, though. I mean, come on, man.
Crazy. Like he does it every year though. And I think that's the thing, like his activity, and we're gonna get to the awards in just a moment. It's so impressive, Brian. And I can't say enough about him. He continues to do it. And listen, I know the fight went the distance, but he dominated. And sometimes I love to see that in a fight. I don't need the
Sure.
knockout.
Yeah.
How many knockouts have we seen Inoue have? A lot.
27 out of
27.
32.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm okay with that. Dominated the fight. Another victory for him. He's active. And he's just one of the best of this generation. We're really lucky to have witnessed him, Bud, and Usyk in one whole entire generation. Like it's crazy, and he's one of the best and most exciting fighters in boxing. And I think we're just blessed to watch him fight. I don't have much else to say about it except for Nakatani kind of had a little bit of a letdown. He can't fight like that against Inoue.
Yeah.
Inoue's IQ is too good. That power, like you could just hear the power punches that Inoue throws. It's ridiculous. Like the sound, it's crazy to me.
Thud, thud, thud,
Yeah.
thud, just over and over. Sounds like a video game. All right, we'll get to a few comments and then we'll go to the awards finally. Slalomi joins in. Welcome, says, I got a feeling Hernandez will fail a drug test. Guy's chin and stamina was inhuman. Um, Inhumane would be with an E. Yeah, I I don't I hope not. I hope that's not the case. I hope he's not, he's gonna pop dirty here. We don't need that, but he did take some shots, in the Nakatani fight. Makeshift 23, Inoue sparred with Sebastian Hernandez last year. This, yeah, I've read this somewhere also. Inoue commented pre-fight that Nakatani would have difficulty with Hernandez. Inoue seems to be a very interesting quote once you get to the translations, and a willing talker at times. And I feel like the audience on our side of the world who doesn't really know Japanese like that, um, would find him like very compelling if they just understood what he was saying or sought out the quotes and whatnot. I feel like boxing could do a much better job of like getting his interviews out there because he tends to say some insightful things just in general.
Yeah.
And then Jay, welcome. Picasso was kind of like Paul Butler. He didn't run like Butler, but he didn't throw much. Yeah, he definitely did not. He wasn't on the bicycle like Paul Butler. But I do give him more credit for going 12 than Paul Butler for going, I think it was 11 before Inoue finally got to him. But Paul Butler was just trying to survive. And then we joked about this on the show years ago, but on the Instagram story after Paul Butler and his team, well, they something to the effect of, "Oh, they said it couldn't be done," or "one round is all they said," and they were hyped that they went 11 rounds with Naoya Inoue.
Yeah. What do you feel about this comment right here from Salome, who good friend of the show, by the way? Nakatani looked special in the first 5 rounds. He landed every damn punch in the textbook. Yeah, like I don't know though. I thought it was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. So maybe that's why. Like I didn't think it was going to be that close.
So let's see here. Because I do agree the first 5 rounds, I was kinda like, "Oh, okay, I see where this is going."
Yeah.
And then toward the end, like, that's where it got dicey, and I was like, "Okay, is this a stamina thing and what have you?" So this is interesting. On BoxRec, because, for bigger fights especially, you could get the scorecards from all 3 judges in the round by rounds. The fans who have their own scorecard on BoxRec for a lot of these fights had it 115, 113 for Sebastian Hernandez Reyes.
Mm,
So they had it the other way. And then obviously you have the 2 judges scorecards, 115, 113, and then the 118, 110. Now you have this is interesting. The fans just gave Nakatani the first 5 rounds and gave Hernandez the last 7.
that's
Which
crazy.
it did feel like there was a turn after the 5th round. Um, and you had one judge also give all 5 here. Yeah, the 2 judges who scored at 115, 113 had round 4 to Hernandez and then gave the bulk of the last 7 rounds to Hernandez. All of them gave round 6 to him. And then the 2 judges who had a 115, 113 gave Hernandez round 8, round 9, round 11. Did not give him the 12th, which is interesting actually, because I think that's a round you could argue for
Mm,
him if you wanted to. But listen, it's a fight I do want to see again. But I thought Sebastian Hernandez. I won't say he cracked the code fully, but he showed him he's gonna get another good fight. Like we'll see him again, and he'll get another good fight, just like we just saw Ramon Cardenas again on Pro Box in a main event, and we're gonna see him again in 2026. I think so. That's good.
yeah, for sure. Any final thoughts before we move on to the word show?
Nope. Let's do the awards.
All right, let's get right into it. And if you watched this last year, then you would know that we're going to do some of the same awards. And we also have listed our 2024 winners as well. And I'm not going to lie, there's one person that's on my list again this year. Um I don't know where should we start with this? I think we got to start off with the storyline of the year.
Yes, we watched the fight. Although I didn't see the fight live. I actually watched it this morning.
All right.
You want to
So
start with storyline of the year?
yes, because I think the
New
top of where
award.
we have listed, it's a new award, y'all. Storyline of the year 2024 is not available because we didn't do it, but there's been a lot of storylines this year. Brian, what do
Mhm.
you think the storyline of the year was for you? Who do you give this award to?
This is easy to me. It's the easiest of all the awards. It's
Yeah.
the TKO Zufa Ali act all
Yeah.
rolled into one because it's all tied as we've been covering throughout the show this year. And I'm not going to go too long on this, and alienate, some people, but I think y'all know where we're at with this. And I think a lot of you share at least some of the same views. Um, I think this is the storyline of the year because it's the one to watch moving forward. Zuffa is going to have their first show, and as a matter of fact, this is relevant. So let me pull this up because Dan Raphael
Hmm.
actually did have a report, a roster update, if you will. So I'm going to find that. But
Yes.
yeah, Zuffa is announcing or has already announced that their first card is coming up. You and I have been talking privately about, hey, um, this is a month out and we should know who's fighting on the card. It's not like one of these situations where, okay, Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson got announced, and we didn't know the undercard or the rest of the main card, but we knew
Hmm.
the main event at the very least. No, it was like, who's going to be fighting on this card? Period. And I was like, okay, it's probably going to be Callum Walsh because they're trying to push him, and they've again through Tom Loeffler and 360 Promotions, they've had an alliance with him, and they want to build Callum Walsh, because of his placement on the Canelo Crawford card, fighting I'm forgetting which Vargas brother, I think it was Fernando Jr. So here we actually have a roster update, if you will. So we'll share a screen again, but this is the
Gotta
story of the
share
year to
screen.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have Dan here, who's been covering boxing forever, as y'all know, formerly at ESPN, USA Today, and now he has his own Substack or whatever. Maybe we'll try to get him on the show if y'all want. I don't really know him like that, but I know he does really good work. Zuffa signees for its league that begins in January, that will stream on Paramount Plus. Rayo Valenzuela, this is the big one, so to speak,
Yeah.
and he just got his ass whooped by Gary Antoine Russell. In I interviewed him, so I'm not gonna but it's one of the worst title defenses of 2025 because he did not win a single minute of that fight.
Yeah. And
Radz,
also keep in mind, like when he beat Pitbull Cruz, a lot of people, that was an upset.
yes,
That was an upset. But I
yeah,
like Ryo. Just saying. I think he's dope. But
I bet on him to beat Pitbull Cruz by
yeah.
decision because I was like, listen, if he changes his style up, and he did, and then Gary Antoine Russell was like, cool, here's a
Yeah.
12-0.
Yeah.
Radzab Butayev, who was a welterweight champion,
Hmm.
who lost his title to Stanionis in a really fun fight, as a matter of fact. He's kind of an action fighter from Eastern Europe. We'll see. Justin Viloria, Erdison Garcia, who we just saw on the Inoue Picasso card, Vito
Yeah.
Milnicki, which has already been reported, and Misael Rodriguez. So I've got to be honest with you, like, yeah, okay.
Were you surprised about Vito?
No,
Okay.
Top Rank ain't doing shit with him. PBC wasn't doing shit with him, and he moved up to middleweight. So it doesn't look like there was a money fight there. Money fight's a strong term. There was an ESPN Plus fight there between like Xander Zayas and Vito Milnicki that you could sell in New York because Vito's from New Jersey, Xander's Puerto Rican with the New York fan base because mad Puerto Ricans here in New York, duh. But like he moved up to middleweight. And Top
Yeah.
Rank doesn't look like Top Rank's keeping everybody because some people are getting antsy about like what we still don't have a TV deal. Top Rank hasn't had a TV event since July, and
Yeah.
it is December. It is almost January. Xander Zayas has a fight coming up in January. We don't really know where it's going to air, and it's a unification. So
Yeah,
yeah,
which is crazy. I don't get me started on Top Rank, but my storyline of the year is the same as Brian's, especially with the Ali Act and how they're trying
yes,
to change the Ali Act, how that's not good for boxers, how that's not good for small boxing promotions, and Turk and Dana are trying to control boxing. And I think boxing's going to be changed forever if all of these bills pass. And it's going to be different. And this is Zuffa Boxing. I don't know how much you love those names, but they're not the best names. They're not the best names, but that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to build it, and so they're going to take a bunch of guys that might not have the opportunities that say a Ryan Garcia or a Devin Haney. They're going to get a lot of these younger guys that are trying to make a name for themselves, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw like a Brandon Lee in Zuffa Boxing,
right,
right?
right.
Like
I
these
think
are the
we've
names.
joked about this before, as a matter of fact. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is about what I expected in terms of roster quality. Like it's fine, and they'll build people, and they're gonna. This is what people are signing up for. They're gonna have like the name attached to it. But I think boxing has been around long enough, and boxing fans will know, like, yo, Rayo Valenzuela, like he's cool. He was a champion, but
Yeah.
having gotten his ass whooped, having been knocked out before, like I don't think a lot of boxing fans are going to be like, "Oh shit!" Like that. This is except for apparently this one comment here.
Which one? I
But
want to see it. I
the
want to see
top
what.
one right here, like on the screen.
Oh,
Um,
they got Ryo, and okay, yeah,
you're
the guy's
gonna
hype.
know, like like I, I don't think this is better than what Pro Box is doing,
Nah, Pro
and
Box.
that's about the level what Zuffa's probably going for in terms of roster quality.
I like Pro Box, and I love that it's on YouTube.
Yeah,
I love everything about it. But let us know what you think the storyline of the year was. I also think one of the storylines of the year, and I'll just say really quickly, is everything that's happened with Tank. But we're going to talk a little bit more about him. That's a
that's
little
a
bit of a
good
tease,
runner up.
y'all. Yeah, definitely. That was what I was thinking of. I couldn't think. Let's get over to the robbery of the year. Last year, Brian, why don't you read our last year's?
You had Richardson Hitchens and Gustavo Lemos, which I thought was
Woo! Robbery.
excellent. I thought
Yeah.
it was an excellent choice. Lemos, by the way, got knocked out by Keyshawn Davis after and has a fight coming up against Adam Azim in
Ooh.
January. That's going to be interesting. So I had Oshaki Foster versus Hobson Conceição. And then obviously Oshaki Foster got it in a rematch that we both didn't think was necessary because Oshaki beat him the first time, but unfortunately it didn't go his way. So robbery of the year. I think you should start this one because I feel like I've been talking too much.
Hey, we like that though. You know what I mean? Now when you go on rants, we like that. But yeah, I think it was what we were talking about. All right. So my 2025 mandatory award robbery of the year goes to Lamont Roach, who was robbed twice. Twice, y'all. He was robbed twice this year. The first time was with Tank, and I think he was robbed. I think he won 7-5. I have watched that fight this year 8 times, and every time I do it, I give 7 rounds to Lamont Roach. He was robbed against Tank. They gave that a draw, and they scored that a draw. And then he got robbed against Isaac Cruz. There's no way Isaac Cruz won that fight. It was a pure robbery in daylight. Okay, this was brutal. If you get robbed twice in a year, oh my god! But robbery of the year, I think it has to be that latter one. Isaac Cruz and Lamont Roach. Oh my goodness, I feel bad for Lamont Roach. And listen, I think he had a pretty solid year, but he got robbed twice, Brian. And I'm robbery of the year. I'm just gonna say Lamont Roach. He gets that award. Who do you have?
Word for word, bar for bar, the same exact thing.
Did you? Okay, I didn't know if you were gonna go with that, but that was the first thing.
It's him. It's him because it happened twice, and you could argue, okay, maybe the Pitbull one wasn't a robbery, but it's like in totality.
I think it was.
I think it was too. I think he absolutely outboxed him.
Yeah.
What I had 8-4, something like that.
I had to say, yeah, we had. I believe we had the same scorecard after that fight.
And the Tank fight, it was just a straight up mistake by the referee. That cost him. He gets that point. We're having a different conversation. And even on top of that, he probably did better than the judges thought. Like when I watched it at the time, I was like, look, I guess you scored a draw because I don't really know what you do there, but I'm not a referee. I'm not a judge. Like
I wish I was a judge.
I've thought about it.
You and I we gotta look into this because we score. I have an unofficial scorecard every time, and so does Brian. And we'll talk about it. You know what I mean? But I'm with you on that.
I used to score fights like on loose leaf paper. You know what I mean? When I was a kid, like
I still do that now. I still use loose leaf paper. I'm an old bitch.
I just write it on my phone or I just tweet it out because I'm tweeting.
Write it in your phone. You're so Gen Z.
I'm a millennial still, but I'm like,
I know that's true. Yeah.
But yeah, it's Lamont Rose Jr. Like he's just like, twice just gut wrenching that he was getting a lot of press after the Gervonta Davis draw.
Mm-hmm.
But it would have been even more so had he got the win that he evidently deserved. And then the Isaac Cruz one, I thought he beat Isaac Cruz clearer than he beat Gervonta Davis. I thought the Isaac Cruz one was more clear. Like he damn near dominated that fight. You know what I mean? It looked shaky early, and then once he settled in, that was it. So I think it's like this is not going to a fight. This is going to Lamont Roche for both of us.
Yeah.
Everyone in the chat, leave comments, your awards also as we're going through each category.
Yes.
We just did storyline of the year. We did robbery of the year. Let us know if you agree, if you have somebody else. I also do want to mention a runner up, if you will. I was trying to think about like who are the other upsets.
Yeah.
This is one that you will absolutely agree with. Boatsy Parker.
Oh my god.
Joshua Boatsy loses to, or should have lost to, actually beat Zach Parker by majority decision. This was on November 1st. And this is one that was highly controversial. Not a single judge had this for Zach Parker, when in reality, he should have won. Zach Parker should have won this fight. And Boatsy, who looked shaky in the fight beforehand because he actually lost that one.
That's why he'll never be on a boxing slip of mine again. I actually dislike Boatsy. I think he might be the most overrated boxer. I don't like to say I hate anybody. I strongly dislike this dude.
Sports hate, not real hate.
No, yeah, exactly, sports hate. But he was supposed to win that fight, and he effed up a good slip for me. I will never forgive him. And if I was to ever meet him, I'd be like, yo, you were trash in that fight. I would say it to him. I don't like him as a boxer.
Marcus McDonald and Salvador Silva had this 96-94 for Boatsy, 2 judges. And then Gregor's Molenda, I think I butchered the first name, my bad. 95-95 draw. The fans on BoxRec had this 100-90 for Zach Parker.
Dude, Zach Parker won.
The Boatsy one is bad.
Hey, thank you. Let's go to our good friend of the show, Ryan Hong. Boatsy is ass cheeks. I agree 100%.
I think even people from the UK, if Foxy, if you're there, or any of our UK correspondents, because y'all don't really like even Lawrence Okolie, and I feel y'all are similar when it comes to Joshua Boatsy at this point.
Yeah.
Boatsy, I don't think had a great year because he should have lost that fight. And then Callum Smith, that was another fight. He might have been the favorite for that, but that was like the big, the greatest card ever, or whatever the fuck, the last crescendo. And
oh yeah, I forgot about that. The last crescendo, that was hilarious.
Yeah,
that was like terrible marketing, by the way. The last crescendo, I thought it was so lame.
It's a weird name.
I'll say this though, the reason why I'm also just like annoyed with Boatsy is because remember in 2022 how big of a name he was, and people were like, "Oh my god, Joshua Boatsy, he's so good." No, like and it just pisses me off. And anyways, I don't have much to say about him. And Brian always asks me if I want to talk about him on the show, and I'm like, no.
He was minus 205 to beat Callum Smith, and he was a bigger favorite for this other fight against Parker. Yeah, we can move on, but those we get the robbery of the year to Lamont Roach Jr. Unfortunately, like we can't give you a world title, but we can give you this fictitious trophy. But Boatsy, you get the silver medal.
Yeah. The last crescendo though, how lame. Okay, anyways, I just hated the marketing for that. All right, we gotta get to this one.
Knockout of the year.
Yeah, and I went first last time, so Brian, this is all you first. I wonder if we have the same one. And I'm gonna give a hint because recency bias for me is a thing, yo. And I think I just gave it away by saying that. I think you know. You know what I'm gonna say.
I feel like I have a cliche one here, unfortunately, but there's more to it. So last year, to reiterate, you had Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois. Yeah. I had Osles Iglesias, who destroyed Shvedenko in a round. This year, my knockout of the year is probably going to be a popular choice, but Brian Norman Jr., Jin Sasaki, during the summer or spring, before the Devin Haney fight. A knockout so brutal that it led many of us down the rabbit hole of, Brian Norman Jr., if he is able to touch Devin Haney, this could be it. And by the way, we still don't know if that's false because he didn't really get to Devin Haney. He didn't figure out, he still hasn't figured out his range, and it took all 12 rounds and he got dropped in that fight. Devin Haney got him early, according to Tim Bradley. And it's something that I kind of agree with. But at the same time, Devin Haney gets a lot of props for that performance, given all the shit that we were saying about him
Mhm.
leading up to it, which still we kind of need answers to because, again, didn't really get touched a ton in that fight. But this knockout by Brian Norman Jr. was vicious. It's the highlight of his career. It led people like the odds. That knockout is the reason why the odds makers had this fight with Devin Haney a 50-50 fight, and why people were like, yo, he's gonna knock out Devin Haney, which he didn't. But it was a just a ridiculous catch and shoot, clean left hook, put Sasaki out immediately, didn't need a count. And it was in Japan also. Like
Yeah.
it was a road game. So Brian Norman Jr. gets it. I think the one that you just hinted at, was
Are you
my second choice. So I want you to give that one up.
All right. Well, it's no surprise here. This happened a couple of weeks ago, but it was the nastiest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's Jay Opataya and Hussein
Oh,
Chinkara. That's my
oh,
knockout of the year. It
not the
happened a
one that
couple
I
of
thought you were gonna get.
no, I had Brian Norman Jr. like in the summer. And I was like, yo, that's the knockout of the year. Then I see Opataya.
Yeah.
He broke his neck. This guy was laid
I don't mean to
out.
laugh.
No, he legit he had medical attention after. He
Yeah.
broke his neck.
Mhm.
This was a nasty knockout and like, I was sitting there like, "Whoa, this was powerful." You could hear the thuds and it was done in the 8th round. It was a beautiful knockout. And it was a great if you have not seen that fight cuz it just happened like a couple of weeks ago. I was watching this live and remember this fight was down in Australia. It was a beautiful knockout. This is one of the best knockouts I've seen in a very, very long time. Brian, I wish you could pull up like really quickly if we could do it without sound. I don't know if we'd get flagged for that. We probably would, right? If it was on X or Twitter. I don't know, but if you have not seen this knockout, he broke the guy's neck. Like I can't this is crazy. Ryan Hong actually has a different knockout of the year, but let us know who your knockout of the year is because this is probably my favorite category each time. Oh my god, this is the one. This is
Okay.
the one right here. This is beautiful.
If we
Let's
get
look.
flagged, I'll remove it later. But here's the knockout. Okay, this is an angle that Luke Thomas posted. Shout out to Luke. Okay, here we go. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
my god.
I
It's
was
just
reminded of that. Like just the drop, just
oh my god. Like
how he's
I'm
just how we just spring. You know what? Actually, we could do this in slow motion.
yeah, this is crazy, y'all.
A little faint, backs up. Oh my goodness. Just a beautiful left hook. Drops immediately, lands on the second rope, and then his head also thuds. Like this is why his neck broke. Just went
Chinkara
under a
like
lot
was
there.
out cold, man. Like Opataya is a problem.
Yeah.
He's an absolute problem. I'm very excited for him next year. I'm a big fan, Brian. And this just solidified his power even more. This was a great fight. If y'all haven't seen it, because I felt like it went under the radar in December a little bit, but this was a great knockout. If you haven't seen it, Al the Pal says he's overrated.
By the
Um,
way, he did get rocked in this fight
yeah.
a couple times, specifically in round two. Like he was pushed in this
Mhm.
fight before Sakara obviously got knocked out. Jao Pataya had a big year. He had three knockouts. Not TKOs. He had three knockouts. Three successful title defenses. Um and if David Benavidez is serious about cruiserweight, and if he beats Zerto Ramirez, this is the guy that I would like to see him fight the most.
I think it would be a blockbuster fight if
Yeah.
if them dudes were gonna fight. Like I'd be down for it, and hopefully we get it. But let us know who your knockout of the year is. We're gonna get to all the comments after the show because we'd love to get to some of them, and we will, and we have. But a very very good knockout. Brian, let's get to the next category if that's okay with you.
Let's do a few comments first, real
Okay.
quick on this. Makeshift 23 says that KO by Brian Norman Jr. caused just Sasaki to lose some memory for a bit. Has to be knockout of the year. Salome says Norman KO is good in isolation, but I can't help judging how he looked versus Haney. Yeah, I mean, look,
Yeah.
it's tough in hindsight. Like I, okay, by the way, Chantel, I thought you were gonna say Frank Martin versus Francis Barthélemy.
That was a good one, but I'm telling you, this one was better. When
It is.
somebody's neck gets broken
Yeah.
off of a not like bruh, like it was crazy. I remember I was legit wilding out when I saw this. I was like, oh my god, like, and I kind of still had the same reaction seeing it again in slow mo.
There
It
was
was a
an
beautiful
there,
knockout.
there was another recent one on a Pro Box card. It was Marlon Harrington against Brian Polanco, which was sick. And it was also a first round knockout. Ryan Hong says Gassiev versus Pulev. That was a good one too,
Yeah,
actually. I pulled that one up. It was the day after. It just wound up on my feet, and I was like, "Oh, Pulev got knocked out. What?"
yeah, crazy.
Makeshift 23 says, "Want to mention Cardena's knockout on Robles? It's a pretty good one too."
Like that one.
And Aldo Pal says, as you said, that Opatai is overrated, and said that he's not doing that to David, which maybe he's not. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd like to see how Dave Benavidez looks at cruiserweight. Although the joke is that we already have because he
he's
rehydrates
going.
a lot.
He's going to heavyweight. Listen, you know me. I'm the biggest like monster fan. You know, I think David Benavidez could go up to cruiserweight and he could dominate. But I just love this
Me.
knockout by Opataya. Like I think I like Opataya. I like his fight style. I'm a fan. I would love to see them fight, and hopefully we get that fight in the new year. We are going to be doing like our wish list for 2026, the fights that we want to see. I think we should do that, Brian. I just came up with that right now, but
No, yeah, we should do that.
yeah, we
Absolutely
are
should
gonna
do that.
we are gonna be doing our pound for pound list early in the year, y'all. So just saying, Brian, should we get over to upset of the year?
Upset of the year. Let's do it. We both had Bruno Sarase knocking out Jaime Munguia, which was late in the year. I remember I was at a white elephant party, and you
We were
texted me.
both at it at a
Yeah,
white
we were,
elephant
we were
party.
both at white elephant parties, and then I think you sent me the text like,
Yeah,
"Yo,
yeah.
Jaime Munguia got knocked out." I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, I'm waiting for my number to be called or whatever, and then I see, yeah, Jaime Munguia got clipped by somebody who doesn't have like any real knockout
It
power.
was clean shot, like just a clean shot. And I remember, like, at least Brian was in the moment. I was watching this on my phone, like at the white elephant party. Like, that's terrible. You know what I mean? And I just like I remember at the party, I was like, oh my god, and everybody turned around to look at me, and I was like, my bad.
And
But
they're like, who's Jamie Mungia?
oh
Huh?
my god,
Who's huh? Bruno
yeah.
Serace? Who are these people? You know what I mean? Because they don't
Yeah,
they
what
don't they don't know
gringos,
who
you know what I mean? But I
they don't
will
know who
say
the
that
fuck we're talking
I
about.
was at a white elephant party at a Latina's house, so she would have been able to
No.
pronounce those names. Now,
Jaime Munguia, yes. Bruno
yeah,
Serace, I don't know. Okay,
uh,
upset of the year. You're going first this time.
so my 2025 mandatory award for upset of the year goes to Rolly Romero and
Mm.
Ryan Garcia. That was the upset of the year because Rolly Romero heading into that fight, how many times did he get knocked out? How many times did Rolly Romero really disappoint in some fights?
Yeah.
Fighting Ryan Garcia, obviously the back and forth was great, but Rolly Romero, let's give him some credit. He fought his ass off, Brian, in this fight, and he neutralized Ryan Garcia. He boxed really well. And Rolly deserves all the credit in the world. I don't even know what the odds were, but I know that Ryan Garcia was a huge favorite in this one. I don't think anybody thought he was going to lose. This is the upset of the year for me, Brian.
He was minus 1,200, Ryan Garcia to win. So
Crazy.
Rolly Romero was plus 700. I remember staring at it. The parallels between this and Haney versus Garcia are weird. We all
Yeah.
wrote off Ryan Garcia heading into that fight. Now, steroids, so asterisk. We all wrote him off heading into the fight, and then it went the way it went. And then in this one, no steroids as far as we know. We all wrote off Rolly Romero because coming into this fight, he looked against like Manuel Jaimes, who's a whatever stepping stone opponent for the time he fought him. Against Isaac Cruz, as expected, he got stopped. Ismael Barroso, one of the worst that was
Oh
my
my god.
robbery of the year for 2023
Yeah.
because Barroso got rocked and then they just stopped the fight, a fight that he was winning. Not just on my scorecard, but on all three judges' scorecards, and they stopped the fight, and he didn't look like he was in that much in real danger. And then he went and knocked out O'Hara Davies in a round and then lost. And then in the Tank fight, he looked pretty good, but he ended up losing in that fight. So there was a string of Rolly Romero kind of being a joke, kind of being a laughing stock, and then boom, he puts it all together. like the athleticism, the jab, just outworking Ryan Garcia, confusing him with different combinations, and his punch selection was like just great. Boxing him at range, like it was ridiculous. And it was a fight. It was a bullshit fight. It was a fight between two dudes who've never fought at welterweight, fighting for a welterweight title, who should not have been fighting for a title, who just fictitiously became the number 1 and 2 like contenders for the WBA. And then Rolly Romero, as he put it, fucked up all their plans because they wanted to do Haney Garcia again. And he wins this fight in dominant fashion and drops Ryan Garcia and makes him look like a fucking amateur.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, was this your upset of the year as well?
Second.
Okay, what's your upset of the year?
It's a less sexy option, but it's one that when you hear it, you're gonna be like, "Oh, that's right." Caleb Plant.
Oh, I forgot about this fight.
Caleb Plant losing to Jose Resendez in May again, like, you guys have to stop letting fights marinate. Like in a card, this is on May 31st. Shout out to my sister, it was her birthday. Jermall Charlo and Caleb Plant, who should have just fought each other, needed warm-up fights. And Jermall Charlo takes care of Thomas Lamana, who just retired recently, who's been a staple in the Northeast and New Jersey specifically. But all due respect, someone that Jermall Charlo should take care of, and he did. And then Caleb Plant loses his fight by split decision, should have been unanimous. He was a minus 2,400 favorite at one point. Caleb Plant, 2,400. That's sniffing Anthony Joshua, Andy Ruiz territory. And he looked like shit. And to be honest with you, Caleb Plant didn't look great in the fight against Trevor McCumbee either.
He didn't.
He ended up stopping him. But if you remember, like, he looked unsteady. He looked like he wasn't in any rhythm. He got dropped in round 4, and then he kind of woke up and got it done against a tough challenger in Trevor McCumbee, who hadn't been stopped to that point. So credit. And Trevor McCumbee honestly looked worse against Diego Pacheco, who a lot of people were shitting on. But Diego Pacheco basically pitched a shutout in that fight. Caleb Plant, a couple fights in a row here. And now I'm like, yo, why don't we see Edgar Berlanga and Caleb Plant? Like, both of y'all have nothing to lose at this point. What more do you have to lose? Like, so to me, like, there were a bunch of upsets. I could shout out a few because I have a little mini list here, but this is the one for me. Caleb Plant dropping the ball against Resendez at minus 2,400. Resendez, who lost a couple of times before that, who beat Jarrett Hurd. This was after we interviewed Jarrett Hurd. No, this is before.
Yeah,
we interviewed Jarrett Hurd before this, and we're not to blame. But listen, Jarrett Hurd could have reposted the episode, so then he ended up losing the fight. You know, lost to he beat Jarrett Hurd. Resendez did, and Resendez lost to Elijah Garcia. That's how that went. But yeah, that's mine.
All right. Well, by the way, drop your comments in for upset of the year. There are a couple of comments I want to get into. And Al the Pal says, now that's not upset. Mexicans, they're tough. More embarrassing being Mexican and getting knocked out by Bruno. You know what it is, though? Like, I know that Rolly has popped, but I didn't think that he would beat Ryan Garcia, and the trajectories of the careers were going in different directions at that time.
Yeah.
So to me, it was, and we're already setting up, and this is what I hate about this whole thing that Turk does, where he like brings them into the ring and he's like, you're going to fight this person, and you know what I mean? It's like, what? Like, I hate it. It's like, why are we doing this before this fight? Like, why are you setting this up? Like, I hate it. Like,
why are you playing with the gods, bro?
And that's the thing. That's what happened. It's like, Rolly ended up beating Ryan, and we never got Ryan and Devin too, and we might get it next year. I don't know, but I think Ryan could even fight Teofimo Lopez next year.
And then the PBC did it with Plant and Charlo also, and it's like, come on, guys, just do the fight. Like, you should have, like, Sella, TKO, y'all should have just done Joshua versus Wilder when you had the chance. When Wilder was coming off the first round knockout, while he was viable. And you should have just did it then, you know, against Robert Helenius. But instead, you had them do warm-up fights, and now, you know, it is what it is.
All right, Al the Pal, if you donate to the show, we go to it right away. Donate $10. He actually always donates, so thank you very much.
Boring fight of the year.
And we didn't do this one, but I can say it right away.
It's a good category.
Yeah, I want to I think it was Canelo and William School. Well, actually, Haney and Ramirez, they're co-winners. Let's give them.
I think Al mentioned the two that should be like it's these two.
Yeah,
It's one of these two: Canelo versus Williams School and Haney versus Ramirez.
I
I
wanted
think
to. I
it's
wanted to.
Haney versus Ramirez for me, though. To be honest,
You know what? Yeah, that was really boring. I think I wanted to kill myself for both of the fights
oh
because they
my
were so
god,
boring. I'm just saying they were so boring. I remember Canelo and Williams School. I just wanted it to be over. I remember watching it.
Canelo didn't get enough shit for that.
We did a post fight live for that.
Yeah, and I was saying like everyone was shitting on Williams School, and I was like, Canelo didn't get enough shit for that because he would just stand in front of Williams School at times, or when Williams School like he wasn't throwing to Williams School's body. Williams School outthrew him like a lot. It was actually jabbing. It
Yeah.
wasn't jabbing enough, and it was he was getting on his bicycle. I'm not trying to say that he was engaging a ton. But he was engaging more than Canelo Alvarez was. Canelo Alvarez just looked pissed off and was like, whatever, I'm gonna get the win anyway. So who cares? Because I'm Canelo Alvarez. Um,
And
Ca
the vibe was so lame too.
it was
Like in
awful.
the
That was
Saudi,
the atmosphere, but the atmosphere for the Haney one was worse because that was in that Times Square bullshit card.
you know what? There were so many things in boxing this year where they like overhyped these fights. Like, oh, we're getting, and they were terrible. Like, there were so many of those this year, more than I can ever remember in past years. And I think it's just the way that they're building the fights, the money that they're offering. It's really interesting. And listen, if Dana and Turk end up controlling boxing, we're gonna have a problem. Bryan, do you want to get to any more comments before we move on to the next category?
Yeah, just yes, just real quick. Upset of the year contenders. Jazza Dickens had a really good one against Albert
Yeah.
uh Badir Gazayev. I could never say his name. My apologies, but Jazza Dickens had a real one that's fairly recent. Wardley Parker. So this one, it's not upset of the year to me, but at one point, Fabio Wardley, or rather Joseph Parker, was minus 1,000 to beat Fabio Wardley. And I feel
Mhm.
like I regret not betting on Fabio Wardley because going into that fight, I was like, yo, like everyone's just consensus. Hey, Joseph Parker is the next best heavyweight after like the top guys. And I'm like, are we sure? Like, are we sure? Like he beat a Deontay Wilder, who probably was more finished than we thought. He barely beat Zhilei Zhang, who had no gas tank and dropped him twice in that fight.
Mm.
And then he beats Martin Bukole, who like wasn't in fighting shape at all. He was the size of a defensive tackle in that fight. And not by design, it's because he wasn't the initial opponent because it was supposed to be Daniel Dubois and that fight didn't materialize. So like I'm looking at Joseph Parker and I'm like, yo, I think especially for someone who got knocked out by Joe Joyce, I'm like, yo, we kind of just thrusted him in there. We kind of just thrusted him in there like, yo, he's next. Like he's the guy who should fight Usyk, and he did deserve it. But at the same time, like I think he was getting way too like the odds were too much in his favor against Fabio Wardley, and we should have respected Fabio Wardley more. So I regret that one. But that's another one. And then Beatrice Ferreira against Elif Nur Turhan, who's a Turkish boxer that I mentioned, who's like I don't know if knockout artist is too strong, but she got fucking punching power. She's a dog, bro.
Yeah.
She's sick. And also Jorge Garcia Perez versus Charles Conwell. That's another one for me. That's one of the underrated ones because Charles Conwell was the boogeyman, and Xander Zayas doesn't want to fight Charles Conwell. Xander Zayas is, he's a punk. He's gonna lose to Charles Conwell. He's gonna get knocked out by Charles Conwell. And then Jorge Garcia Perez as a fucking, plus 1,300 or whatever the fuck he was, comes in and outboxes him. And now everyone says, oh, Xander Zayas' wins aren't shit because he beat Jorge Garcia, who beat the man who was allegedly the boogeyman at 154. But now Xander Zayas hasn't beaten anybody. Okay.
All right. Well, that was quite the rant that Bryan went on.
I
But
just
we're
got
not.
tight about that all over again thinking about it.
All right. Well, we should
Boxing
move on
fans are always moving the goalposts, changing the rules. You know what I mean?
all the time. That's what happens in boxing. All right. Let's get to the next because we were already over an hour, y'all. So just want to say that. Let's get to
We have 3 awards left.
I want to do prospect of the year before fight of the year.
Yes.
Because I think
Great
fight
call.
of the year and boxer of the year are two of the most important awards. So prospect of the year, Bryan, did you go first last time? Or did I go? I did upset of the year first.
Yes,
So
you
you
did.
go
You
you
did.
go first. You go first.
So last year I was like, "Yo, this is not a great year for prospect of the year.
Yeah.
This is worse. This is objectively who are the prospects, guys
I
in the
might
chat?"
pick the same person 3 years in a row. So, I mean, like, what are we doing here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can see the winners on the screen. I had Emiliano Vargas. I had him the year before in 2023 as well. And Brian had Richard Torres Jr., who I think is the next great American heavyweight. But Brian, who is your prospect of the year? Who are you handing this mandatory award to?
Emiliano Vargas.
Yes.
Because it's like, yo, who are the prospects? Cormel Moulton fought twice. People were saying Cormel Moulton's going to be the prospect of the year this year, and he should have been. I don't. His activity is no, like he's not fighting. He's
Yeah.
not fucking fighting. There's mad prospects in the sport. 2-3 fights in a year. Emiliano Vargas has at least fought 4 times, which is where he's progressing pretty much the way he should be. We'll see. We'll see where the top rank thing, leads him eventually because like we need to. He should be on the Sanders Ice undercard. Why can't he fight in the Puerto Rico card? You know what I mean? Like why not? He just fought in November, but he won by decision, and it was a one-sided decision. He had 4 fights this year. He had 3 knockouts. He looked great in every single fight, in every single round. He pretty much won every round that he fought this year. He looks like the one of the Vargas brothers. And by the way, all the Vargas brothers are pretty talented, but he looks like he's going to be the one. And he looks like one of these dudes where he's going to be a champion. He could be a unified champion. He might be pound for pound. Like he looks like he's going to be really good. And this is not just us saying this. This is other people as well. But it's Emiliano Vargas. Like last year, to me, it was really between Richard Torres and Moses Itama. And I could have easily went Moses Itama. This year, I feel like Moses Itama has really established himself as a contender. So I try not to give this award to people who are actually contenders. There are some prospects
Yeah.
who I don't think qualify as prospects anymore because they're actually contenders now. Like some people would say, yo, Abdullah Mason because he's really young. And it's like, no, he's a world champion already.
Now you can't put Abdullah Mason, but I think
Yeah.
Abdullah Mason was in that conversation. Listen,
Last year. Yeah.
yeah. Listen, y'all, I've gone with Emiliano Vargas the last 2 years. And so I'm going to change it up a bit because if anyone watches this show, then you know how much of a fan I am of Emiliano Vargas' dad. So I love all the Vargas brothers because I was obviously a big fan of his dad. So I'm going to root for his kids, obviously. So he was my prospect of the year for the past 2 years. So I thought I'd change it up, and I think I'm going to go. And I don't even know if you can label him a prospect, but I think you can because he's a emerging star and he's going to be a contender. Is Rohan Polanco?
He's still a prospect.
Yeah, so I would probably say Rohan Polanco. He is 27 years old. Remember, he did compete, I think in 2020 at the Olympics for the Dominican Republic, if I'm not mistaken.
He's also, and I think he is ranked, but he's not going to get a title shot next. His next fight is going to be
17-0.
He's going to fight. He's going to fight on the Xander Zayas card. As a matter of fact.
He's 17-0. He has 10 knockouts. And listen, I think he's going to be a problem. I think he's going to be a problem at welterweight. I do.
I was at his fight where he beat Quentin Randall also in the MSG Theater one, and that was one where I felt like he could have done a little bit more. But I'm still very high on him. I think he's a future, like real problem at welterweight.
Yeah, no, he definitely is. So for me, he's my prospect of the year, and I'm gonna let Brian talk really quickly because I have to get my laptop charger. So y'all wait over here while I go get my laptop charger.
Okay, other prospects that I considered for this, and please leave in the chat like however many prospects because this year was not an easy one. But I did go with Emiliano Vargas. So considered Yuta Sakai, Japanese. Very early on in his career, he's already fighting 8-rounders. He looks like he's going to be really good. He looks like maybe he could be, I'm not going to say the next Naoya in a way, but he looks like he could be one of those levels of Japanese stars who could be really, really good. It's still very early in his career, but he's one that I'm watching out for. Maybe he gets the award next year, but it depends on how they move him up. He's 6-0 with 6 knockouts right now. Kane Sandoval, who's an action, he's a Shantelle type of dude, action fighter on the inside. He takes hits, but he's really fun. He has fucking knockout power. His fight against Gino Rodrigo was very entertaining. Now, I'd like for him to defend just period, but he's somebody that I think you should watch out for him as well. Naji Lopez.
Oh, yes.
Who I thought put together a really strong, like, I'm seeing growth. I'm seeing him be a little bit more responsible in terms of boxing and finding his range and figuring out some things defensively on these pro box cards. I strongly thought about him as well. Um, I don't know how great he's going to be at light heavyweight, but he clearly has all the tools. It's
Ooh,
just
I
a
have
matter of
another one. I
it's
have
just a
another
matter
one.
of it's just a matter of will he put the defense together, and that's pretty much it.
Sorry, guys. I just really thought of one. But Rohan Polanco is mine, but I love Amari Jones.
Omari Jones, I love. Yes, I think he's a good pick.
Amari Jones has to be on that list. So I'd say I want to give him a nod, but Amari Jones he's going to be a problem. Like I actually believe in Amari Jones, and I think he could be a superstar in boxing as well. Like he has it all. He has the attributes, and he's a fun fighter. If y'all haven't seen Amari Jones fight yet, and Brian's been talking about him for a minute. I remember I saw a fight of him this year, and I was like, Brian, Amari Jones is that dude because
No, so like I listen. I think some of these dudes and women too who competed in the
yeah,
Olympics in 2024. I think Tam Tebow, I gave strong consideration
yeah,
to also, but it already feels like she's a contender.
yeah.
I think she's gonna fight for a title this year. But Tam Tebow, like if I want to have a true next person after Emiliano, like it's her. But it feels like she's already a contender. And there's not a lot of depth as you move up in like the middleweight, super middleweight,
Hmm.
women's boxing classes. So hopefully she fights Clarissa Shields at some point. But yeah, Omari Jones, Marco Verde is another interesting
I like him too. I like him
Olympian
too.
who could be a good pro. Jamal Harvey, who we just saw on a Netflix card. Um, we'll see. We'll see what happens with some of the others who competed in the Olympics. There's somebody else who Tara Moana, who's a heavyweight.
Yeah.
Who's I think all of his wins are by knockout right now. He's 9-0 with 9 knockouts. He competed in the Olympics as well. Jalalov ended up winning the gold, but Tara
Yeah.
Moana, he looks like he's going to be good too.
Yeah. So let us know who your boxing prospect of the year is. And I just want to say, Mari Jones's jab, it's legit. He's going to win a
Excellent.
lot of fights with his jab.
Excellent.
He has a high IQ. Like the way he mixes it up, he's very fun to watch. So yeah, my two picks, Rohan Polanco and Amari Jones. And Makeshift 23 says, being a prospect for 3 years in a row is wild. It is wild, but I've been on the
But you
Vargas
only did it
brothers
two.
early on.
You only did it
Yeah,
for two, to be
I did.
fair.
Yeah, I changed it up this year, you guys. I'm just very high on Emiliano Vargas, and I think he is somebody that, and I know this was Brian's pick, but he's going to be an absolute superstar. He's
Yeah.
that good. Like he's that dude. Like we talk about the next Mexican boxing superstar, and obviously David Benavidez is going to be mentioned there. Emiliano Vargas is up next too. I'm telling you right now, he's going to be that dude. When it comes to a Mexican American being a face of boxing, and Brian hates this conversation. I eat it up.
Not
But,
hate it. I just don't
you're over
know.
it. You're over it.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Let
So to reiterate, you settled on who
Rohan
officially? Ron
Rohan
Polanco?
Polanco, and then like just to give him a quick nod is Amari Jones.
Okay, so I'll do Emiliano Vargas and Tam Tebow.
Okay,
I'll do Tam Tebow also because I've been on her since before the Olympics. Like, I think she's gonna be awesome. And Omari Jones is my betting favorite to win this next year because he's gonna start fighting 8 rounders, I think, this year. So yeah, if he's active, he gets like 4 or 5 fights plus. He might be my betting favorite because I think they're gonna move him up pretty fast.
Yeah, I think they're gonna push him. Like I think he's gonna be pushed to the same amount as like they were pushing like Keyshawn. Because
Ish,
I think
like
that's
that.
how good Amari is, dude. You know what I mean?
It's gonna be a problem at 154. Ooh, Amari Jones versus Virgil Ortiz in 2028. There's gonna be some fun fights to make there. Okay, we have 2 awards left. Let's do fight of the year.
Am I going first? Okay, so fight of the year.
Last year you went with Sandy Ryan and Michaela Mayer, the first one. And I went with Ray Ford versus Kalmatov, which had a sick ending.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're gonna agree with this one. I don't know if we are. You say we're not, but I don't know.
Okay, because I think there's one fight that I think a lot of I actually don't know. I just I had this written down who
I
I was
have
gonna go
mine.
with. Okay, so this is mine because to me, okay, so I'm gonna give one honorable mention, and I'm gonna give the honorable mention first, which was to me Chris Eubank Jr. and Connor Benn. the first fight because it was an absolute war. It was highly entertaining. And usually I don't even like UK fighters. I was thoroughly entertained. That was one of the best fights I saw this year. And I actually watched that fight a few times just for fun this year. Super entertaining. But that's my honorable mention. My fight of the year, and this was easy for me. I saw it right away. It was Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois 2 when Alexander Usyk gets the knockout against Daniel Dubois. Going into that fight, people were thinking that Daniel Dubois was going to knock out Alexander Usyk. And I clearly said after, Alexander Usyk is one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, one of them, but he is the greatest heavyweight of this generation. He's the greatest of this generation. And I stand on that. And I think we're extremely lucky to watch Alexander Usyk. But going into that fight, people thought Daniel Dubois was going to knock out Usyk after what we saw against Anthony Joshua. And of course, their first fight, that low blow that didn't really seem like a low blow. Like there were so many storylines going into this, but I just take a look at Alexander Usyk, and I know this is not Boxer of the Year, but because he was our winner, Bryan and I's Boxer of the Year last year, both of us, I think.
Yes.
But what we've seen Alexander do during his time is unbelievable. You go to cruiserweight, you clean it out, you move up to heavyweight. Everyone's talking about how you're too small to beat any of these guys, and you're just the best of this generation. That fight against Daniel Dubois solidified everything for me. Not only does he have the high IQ, nobody thought he was going to knock out Daniel Dubois, dude. Like it was one of the biggest surprises of the year. And I was just so happy for Alexander Usyk, everything he stands for, everything going on with the Ukraine. Like it just meant so much during that time. And it was such a powerful moment. And I just remember leaving that post-fight show being like, man, like I'm so lucky that I got to see Alexander Usyk fight, because I know when I fell in love with boxing, I saw like the tail end of Tyson, right? I still saw some nasty knockouts, but he was the reason why I fell in love with boxing. But like, I saw a lot of Alexander Usyk's career, and I'm grateful for it. But that was my fight of the year, and to me it was amazing. What about you, Bryan? Was it? I think a lot of people might have this one fight, but I don't know. Who's your fight of the year?
I will also put the consolation nod to Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr., which I strongly considered. Uh, All out wars don't always get it from me.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a boxing hipster in that way, but this was like emotional. This fight, with and it's more than just the fight itself. It's also just the presentation, just the rivalries, and Chris Eubank not being on the same page as his father leading into the fight, and they get together, and this whole thing in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The atmosphere was fucking 10 out of 10, incredible. Like that fight had everything, and both guys went after it. And Chris Eubank Jr. was so just sharp toward the end of that. I'm not sure he's ever going to be the same again, given that he did the cut and we saw how he looked the last fight. I really hope that if they do fight again, that Chris Eubank Jr. like just fight in your weight class, bro. I think Chris Eubank Jr. I think he needed that also for his legacy. But I kind of agree with Slalomi where like it did feel more just like Rock'em Sock'em video game type shit
Yeah.
more than just skill. And to me, the fight of the year was Naoya Inoue and Ramon Cardenas, because it was the first time in watching damn near every Naoya Inoue fight, including a bunch of the early ones, where I was like, oh shit, he actually could lose this fight. Like I felt something coming off of Friday, where we had that bullshit Times Square card. And then on Saturday, we had that bullshit Canelo versus Skull card, where F.A. Ajagba also got robbed against Martin Bacole. Didn't mention that one earlier, but he should have gotten the win. They call that a draw. That was bullshit. This fucking fight with Inoue and Ramon Cardenas.
Yeah.
It didn't save the weekend, because the weekend, like the bad outweighed the good, but it was like the shining light in that weekend. And now you're in a way like it wasn't like Luis Neri. Luis Neri
Yeah.
dropped in a way, and you could feel it like when the fight started. I've talked about this before. In a way, he comes out. It's like it's weird. Why does it feel like he might lose tonight? Why is there something in the air? Like I can't explain it. He doesn't look as like bouncy. He doesn't look as sharp, or he looks a little too jittery at times. Like there's no balance here. And then Neri catches him, and then he wakes the fuck up. You know what I mean? He just wakes the fuck up and whoops Luis Neri's ass for the rest of the fight.
Yeah.
This was fucking different. This had, in a way, in trouble. He gets dropped in round two. And then Ramon Cardenas keeps pouring it on. And
Yeah.
I'm in like round four, round five. I'm like, yo, is he gonna fucking pull this off? Like, is he serious?
Yeah.
Like Ramon Cardenas, who people were like, who the fuck is this? Why is Inoue
Tough.
fighting
He's
him?
a tough fighter though, man. Like when we knew that going into it, like we
We
said,
did.
yeah.
He was getting wild disrespected going into it because,
Yeah.
oh, he should fight Akhmadaliev. He should do this. And it's Sam Goodman because he didn't fight him in January because Sam Goodman got hurt. And then Cardenas fucking becomes like a star for us, at least, like overnight, pushed Inoue to the limit. He ends up getting stopped. Some people thought it was an early stoppage, but that was the fight of the year to me. Just the emotion. It felt like Inoue, a pound for pound, great future first ballot Hall of Famer, just on the brink against somebody who everybody overlooked. Like it's also one of the coolest stories of the year for me.
Yeah. No, I remember when that fight was going, and Cardenas is so tough. Like he's extremely tough, and I think a lot of people were thinking that Inoue might lose that fight, but that's why Inoue is so great because he bounced back from that, just like how he did against Luis Neri, and he just showed how great he was. I love it when a boxer has to fight through trials and tribulations, and they have those moments because that's when you find out about greatness. So yeah, you know what? I'm not surprised, and I want to quickly go to this. Al the Pal says, please don't say Bud and Canelo. I yes, thank you, because I think there might be people that say that's the fight of the year because of like the hoopla around it.
Mm,
But I
there's
mean,
another category for that. You could say it's
yeah,
the event of the year. I
yes,
totally hear you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's that's the event of the year. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But Brian, any final thoughts before we get out? Get to Boxer of the Year.
Yeah, which is the last award. Shout out to Christian and Bealey versus Lester Martinez. I thought was a really surprisingly like that got real consideration for me. Lester
Yeah,
Martinez, Christian and Bealey. And also I really enjoyed Dmitry Bivol, Artur Beterbiev, even though I shit on that card because the card didn't. People were like, "It's the greatest card of all time," whatever, whatever. And then Hamza Shiraz dud against Carlos Adames. Virgil Ortiz has an entertaining fight with Israel Madrimov, but Joshua Buatsi flopped. Ajit Caballero destroys Zhile Zhang. Joseph Parker, Martin Bacoli, that was a dud. Shakur Stevenson against Josh Padley, which I mean, what could Josh Padley do on short notice? You know what I mean? And they're still trying to make Muhammad Alakel happen. But regardless, like Bivol Beterbiev, I thought was really, really just in terms of just high level boxing, that's some of the best that we've seen this year. I wish that we had more real contenders for this. Wardley Parker is also another one. Fabio Wardley, Joseph Parker. Like the fight itself was really, really entertaining. And there are probably others, but yeah, I mean, Inoue Cardenas for me.
yeah. And Inoue Cardenas was actually my honorable mention, but there were some great fights this year, and there were some really bad fights this year. And we didn't do the most boring fight. We did, but I think that was like we
No,
were talking about it.
Haney Ramirez
Yeah,
and School and Canelo. So me, it's Haney Ramirez though of those two. There are
yeah.
others too. Unfortunately, we have more boring fights than awesome fights. It feels like
Yeah,
nowadays.
that's true. That's true. Drop your comments in the chat. Let us know who you had for your fight of the year. And sounds like people are agreeing with event of the year for Bud and Canelo. Brian, let's get to it. Let's go for boxer of the year. Last year we both had Alexander Usyk. Who's your boxer of the year?
4 title defenses at the highest level. I mean, it's Naoya in a way.
Yeah,
I see some people may give this to Terrence Crawford because he got his signature victory. He beat Canelo Alvarez, but to me, it just the activity. It's just hard for me to give fighter of the year to somebody who fought once. I think there's another award you can give Terrence Crawford, but now you're in a way just the activity. Just mentioned the fight with Cardenas being like the main thing we'll take away from all of these, and also just dismantling Akhmadaliev, who we were told was going to be the fucking boogeyman, and who's going to like really push in a way and perhaps beat him. And he was like the hipster choice for like, oh, he's going to beat in a way. He didn't do shit in that fight. Um, I know he got 2 decisions, and I know we saw some cracks, especially in that Cardenas fight, but it's Inoue for me. Like, to defend your title 4 times
Yeah.
against mostly real dudes, especially from the standpoint of like relative to your weight class. Like he's fighting top guys in his weight class, save for Ye Jun Kim, who was a replacement opponent for Sam Goodman. But it's ridiculous the run that he's on, and it still feels like there's a little bit more peak left. I have a bunch of honorable mentions. I'll mention those after you give yours because I don't want to spoil it. But to me, this is in a way.
My 2025 mandatory award for Boxer of the Year goes to Naoya Inoue, the most active boxer. When you actually take a look at what he's done, and Bryan already said it. Says I don't need to do it at nauseum, but he's so active and he does it at a high level. Not only does he do that, but he puts on entertaining performances, and I think that's a big part of it. It'll be like 4 or 5 a.m. on the West Coast, and I'm up watching Naoya Inoue do work. And listen, he's extremely active and he wins in a great fashion. And like to me, when you're that active, we don't really get to see boxers of his caliber fight that much. And I give him so much credit for that. And I'm so appreciative of that because usually we see the superstars fight once or twice a year. And I wish it went back to someone like Naoya Inoue fighting 4 times a year, fighting the best guys in his weight class and continuing to prove that he's one of the best of all time. So to me, I don't really got much else to say about it, but Bryan, he is definitely my boxer of the year. And my second would be Terrence Bud Crawford because what he did was crazy. It was absolutely insane. He moved up 2 more weight classes after jumping up to 154 and then was like, you know what? I'm going to fight Canelo Alvarez and then continues to beat the ish out of Canelo Alvarez. Like he dominated him in that fight. Canelo had no answer. That's why Bud was like, I'm going to retire because I don't really care to fight Canelo again. Hey, he should. I can understand if people have him for Boxer of the Year. The guy fights once a year, blows everybody's mind, and just like walks away. like you have to be really good to do that. You have to be really crazy to jump up 2 weight classes and dominate one of the best fighters of this generation, Canelo Alvarez.
I think that like a lot of people I'm seeing are picking Terrence Crawford, not in the chat
Yeah.
necessarily, but and I just you could say performance of the year if you want because of the stakes and what it means to his legacy or whatever. But I just think the in a way activity, as you mentioned, Chantel, is just like I don't need guys to fight 4 times in a year, but 2, 3, would be nice. Like there are guys fighting once a year, like Terrence Crawford, for example. But yeah, I mean, in a way, it's just like a throwback in a lot of ways. Like Canelo was the last guy who did this, and he fought 3 times in a year not that long ago. But
Mm-hmm.
like in a way is still like he's finding new ways to push himself. He feels like somebody who gets bored easily. He's finding new ways to just push himself. Like, fuck it, I'm gonna fight 4 times this year. Then he'll fight Nakatani. If he fights Nakatani and Bam Rodriguez and beats them both, then he may win this award again in
Yeah.
2026. I may have had him as fighter of the year in 2023, and I think it was the same thing where I was like, yo, Terrence Crawford fought once, fought Errol Spence, and in a way had the 2 wins. Specifically the one against Stephen Fulton. I may have. I'm not sure. I'm misremembering, but and Alexander Usyk fought once this year as well. Honorable mentions, by the way. I do think Terrence Crawford, though, he's an honorable mention. Absolutely. Like if you're gonna have one fight and win fighter of the year, or at least come very close, like this is a scenario. You come up 2 weight classes, you beat the guy in that weight class who's the biggest star in the sport in front of everybody, and it's like an unquestioned, like nobody with half a brain is calling this a robbery.
Can I name one more for another honorable mention?
Oh, I have more, so go for it.
Dimitri Bivol.
Mm.
Like Bivol and Better BF 2. I think Bivol proved how dominant he can be and how he's one of the best because in that first fight, Better BF won, but I remember I had Bivol winning on the scorecards. I was happy Better BF won because he's Canadian, so I was like, "Woo, Bivol, Better BF." But I think Dimitri Bivol in those Better BF fights were some of the most fun fights to watch this past year. And that number 2 fight, like Dimitri Bivol continues to prove how great he is. So I want to throw him in there. Obviously, Alexander Usyk because I went off. I went on a total rant about him and he's always going to be in being a contender for boxer of the year because of what he does. But Bryan, any other names you want to throw in there?
David Benavidez has to be like in this sphere we're talking about because of level of competition.
Yeah.
Also, the fight with him and David Morrell really felt, if not 50-50, close-ish. And look, a lot of people were like, oh, David Benavidez is going to wash him, whatever, whatever. And he ended up beating him by decision. But David Morrell was a real threat and is somebody who I think will continue to be a real threat. He almost lost his last fight, but will continue to be a real threat so long as he doesn't make the mistake of trying to be this action fighter. Like he's slick, he has defense, and he's a very talented counterpuncher, and hopefully he fights the correct style moving forward. But then also beating Anthony Yard, who I thought was the toughest, like the hardest puncher that we probably seen David Benavidez in the ring against, and it didn't matter. Like he just walked through him and destroyed him, like destroyed him. So Dave Benavidez has to be in this conversation. Also, we're talking about fighters who had like one fight who should be considered. Katie Taylor like beat Amanda Serrano clearly for the first time, and
Oh yeah.
you could argue should have won or you could argue like could have lost both of the other two fights. She ended up getting favorable decisions, especially in the second one. But this one, Amanda Serrano's game plan was terrible, and Katie Taylor took advantage of that. Like Amanda Serrano all of a sudden wanted to become like a boxer and try to outbox Katie Taylor, which was silly. And Katie Taylor ends up winning that fight, high profile. And also, one of these years, I'm going to have the balls to give this award to Gabriela Fundora,
Yeah.
who is always close for me, who I think is just ridiculously talented, top 3 to 5 pound for pound,
Yeah.
as far as the women go. And just in general, one of the best, like one of the 10 to 15 fighters I get up for the most in terms of, oh, this person's fighting tonight. Gabriela Fundora is sensational. And I hope that she's like active in 2026. And then Jael Patayo, who we mentioned earlier, who got 3 knockouts, who's cleaning out cruiserweight boxing right now.
Yeah. Drop your comments. Let us know who you have boxer of the year. And thanks so much for joining us, because I think doing this award show is always really, really fun. Maybe next year Bryan will wear a suit and tie and I'll wear a dress. But
They'll be more excited about the latter than the former.
Yeah, whatever. No, people will want to see you in a tie. Astrid will be in the room there. Super, super excited. But I'll say this. I think in terms of boxing, the fights that we got, what would you rate it, Bryan, before we get out of here?
Elif Nur Turhan is a great shout from Aryan here, who got that knockout that I mentioned against Beatrice earlier, Ferreria. So, yeah, listen, there's a lot of contenders. Who y'all got for trainer of the year? Oh boy.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I gotta think about
putting me on the spot. Oh, I would have
Bomac.
How did Bomac get him ready for that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, he also lost the fight that same night because of Steven Nelson.
Robert Garcia, dude.
Bam Rodriguez probably should get a mention here.
Because that's the reason why I'm picking him, because Robert Garcia is his trainer, and Bam, I mean, we're going to do our pound for pound list, and I know he's pretty high on mine, but I think it was such a great year for boxing. And I think when it comes to competition, we're going to see Bam fight bigger names, but he's rising and he's a superstar. And was the El Gallo fight this past year? Or was it last year?
No, that was last year. This year he fought Cafu and
the Cafu fight was a good fight, dude. That was a good fight.
Cafu brought it. He was clearly like just outmatched, but he was like, yo, I don't care. Like, I'm putting it on the line. And then obviously Martinez, who he got, who he beat more recently.
Yeah, Robert Garcia. He's one of my favorite trainers.
Inoue's father, also Shingo. He's one of these dudes so where you get this. No, he deserves credit. He's probably trainer of the year. But there are some people who are like, yo, is it you or is it the team? Like we have a lot of coaches like this in sports.
Yeah.
In team sports, especially. But no, Inoue's father, like, yes, he's somebody that you have to. It's probably him for me. I think Robert Garcia is a great one. I think Bomac also, like as mentioned, Robert Garcia is a good one. Yeah, there's a lot. We do have some good like trainers on a run as well. It does feel like we have a lot of guys bouncing around from trainer to trainer, though. So see what happens.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for the mandatory award show. Thanks so much for rocking out with us on this Monday night. And we want to appreciate you for rocking out with us this year because we hit 3,000 subscribers. That was our goal. We're over it. And hopefully next year, Bryan, I think our goal is going to be 5,000. I said it. It's going to be our year next year, 2026. We're looking forward to it. But anyone that's been a day one, and we always have day ones in the chat, we do appreciate you. We love it when y'all leave comments. And Bryan, should we announce on the award show what we're planning to do? Okay, go ahead.
We want to stick to a single day and time for the show. We have time to do once a week, but we want it to be like consistent. Now there are only a couple slots that really work because of all the other things we do. This has nothing to do with post-fight lives. We're still going to do post-fight lives for like big events, for some of the bigger fights, which we hope to do more of this year, because we had such. That's our favorite thing that we do are the post-fight lives, to be honest. And we wish we could do more of them. Sometimes we have work, and what have you. There are a couple of post-fight live worthy things in January. We'll see how it goes, but what we do want to do is consistently once a week have the weekly show just at a time, not like randomly on Tuesday, randomly on Wednesday. So we're looking at perhaps early Tuesday or no, not
Thursday.
early Tuesday, early Thursday or early Wednesday, morning or early afternoon, depending on what coast you're in. So let us know if you're for the weekly show being earlier on Wednesday or earlier on Thursday. There may be special occasions where we'll have to reschedule, but we want to keep it to that and then have the live show, when we have a post-fight live show. So let us know if early Wednesday or early Thursday works. It's best for our schedule if we do it this way. I work at night a lot, and Shantelle just travels a lot for work. And a lot of these are at night. So Wednesday afternoon or morning, Thursday afternoon or morning, let us know. You can give us an exact time. Tell us what coast you're on. Leave it in the comments. Not even just here in the chat, but on the video afterwards so that we can come back to it. So let us know what works, what y'all think is best.
Yeah. And we're going to be happy to do that at the same time every week because it'll be easier for everyone to join us on these lives. And at the same time, we're going to bring you some great boxing content for next year. Next week, we are going to be giving you our pound for pound list. So make sure to join us for that. And you know what, Bryan? I think we'll do it during our specific time of the week. I think that's what we're going to do it. I don't know. Maybe we'll do it at night, though, because we do like the night lives. But hey, you never know. That could be our first big thing that we do next year. I just want to say Happy New Year to everybody. Have a safe and happy holidays. And, get to the New Year safe. And blessings to everyone that rocked with us this year. Bryan, I'll let you have the final words before we get out of here.
Out of house is Friday afternoons. Probably going to be tough. Especially because I work Fridays afternoons.
And I'm always traveling or doing a game on Friday. So
But Wednesday or Thursday early, let us know time, day preferred, and we'll make something work. Also, Amanda Serrano fights this weekend against a new opponent. It's in Puerto Rico. A lot of interesting names, especially for me on that card. So we'll be talking about that next week as well.
Yeah, the Puerto Rican podcast comes back next week. Yes, it always does. All right, see ya, y'all, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.